my calculations are correct, when this baby hits 88 miles per hour, you're gonna see some serious shit.
Me and my friends have already made a few different videos about MultiVersus, so hopefully you already know what the deal is by this point. Warner Brothers is making a fighting game, and because Warner Brothers owns a lot of shit, there's a massive roster that can come from it. The creators of the game have even mentioned that third-party characters would be possible, and that leads us here. I'm going to pitch why I think Dr. Emmett Brown from Back to the Future would be an excellent addition to MultiVersus. So, let's go back in the 80s and remember why this doctor is so iconic.
Roads? Where we're going, we don't need roads.
The first question you might be asking is why I chose Doc Brown over Marty McFly. In a perfect world, we'd have both join the game, but if I had to choose between one or the other, I think Doc Brown is a bit more iconic. After the trilogy, Doc went on to do some stuff for Universal Studios. He was in a lot of advertising, and he was basically the mascot for the entire series. I guess weird scientists appeal to kids more than the cool guy with the hoverboard. I also just think Doc would have more potential for a moveset thanks to his technology, which he's acquired over the course of several movies, comics, and even a cartoon. Okay, but I still haven't explained why Doc deserves to join this celebration of fiction as a fighter. But honestly, I don't think I have to justify it all that much. Back to the Future is one of the most popular movies ever. It'd be pretty hard to find a person who hasn't at least heard of it. Doc Brown is probably the most recognized fictional scientist out there. The movies went on to inspire several creators into making their own stuff. It was the main inspiration behind Rick and Morty, and based on the leaks surrounding the game so far, Rick is getting in this game. So wouldn't it also make sense to bring in Doc? Doc is already more well known than a couple of the characters already in the game, so I can see his inclusion getting even more people interested in trying MultiVersus out. Since Doc is owned by Universal, he'd be a third-party character. But I've seen Warner Brothers and Universal work together before, and Doc was even put in LEGO Dimensions with other Warner Brothers characters. Back to the Future even got its own level for that game. Also, in Space Jam 2, they make a blatant reference to the DeLorean, which makes me think it'll be pretty easy to get Doc in for this game. But if we actually want to see Doc join the fray, I need to prove that I can at least come up with a moveset for this old inventor. So, let's dive into what he'd bring to the table. Alright, when it comes to Doc's neutral special, I think you could have him charge 2 jumper cables together, which he can hold for a stronger attack. When he's ready, he'll unleash a stream of electricity from the cables. For his side special, Doc could summon the DeLorean, which can move around the screen by flying for a bit before eventually getting up to 88 miles per hour and blasting off, with some flames left behind him that can cause even more damage. However, the DeLorean can be destroyed before then, and Doc will have to wait a while before he can summon another one. For a down special, I guess we could have it operate like a counter. Doc whips out his sleeping device and waves it at his enemy's face, paralyzing them and leaving them open for attack. For his basic attacks, I think you could have him swing those jumper cables around, so his attacks always surge of electricity, and when he gets an opponent in for a combo, his final blow could ignite some big sparks. As a recovery, we could draw from the cartoon and give Doc this extendo hand, which will grab onto the stage and bring Doc back to safety. It can also be used in combat to pluck enemies from the sky and drag them towards Doc. Doc also needs to help his teammate in some way. So, I think the teammate should actually be allowed to pilot the DeLorean when Doc summons it. Once they get inside, they can crash it into enemies or drive up to Doc so he can get in and escape from the enemy. Doc can also pilot the DeLorean if he wants to, and do the same for his partner. For Doc Brown, I don't think you could get anyone else besides Christopher Lloyd. The man has voiced Doc in almost every bit of Back to the Future media besides the cartoon. But even then, he filmed live-action educational segments for that show. We saw him reprise his role in the amazing Telltale game, he reprised Doc in several advertisements, and also showed up in a Seth MacFarlane movie once.
Great Scott!
Suffice to say, I think Christopher Lloyd is always down to play the good doctor. As for what he'll be saying, I imagine he'd be a pretty positive guy, complimenting his teammates and giving them words to live by. I could imagine him being kind to Stephen or Finn because they remind him of Marty. I feel like Doc would have some fun interactions with Velma. She'd probably respect him as a legend in the scientific community. Or, if she's being more cruel, she could call him a nutcase, since that's how he was seen before inventing time travel. If Rick is in the game, I feel like Doc wouldn't have kind words for him. Maybe he'd say, "This is what you do with your intelligence? You disappoint me, Sanchez." Or something along those lines to show that he disapproves of Rick's reckless ways. I guess the only way I expect Rick to respond is by telling Doc to lick his balls.
Lick my balls, Marty. Lick my fucking balls.
When it comes to potential costumes for Doc, I think his base outfit should be the radiation suit that he's wearing when we first meet him. Then we could have him in his futuristic outfit from when we see him come back from the future.
What do you think?
You look great, Doc.
We could also have him in his casual clothes with a bandage on his forehead, like when Marty meets him in 1955. Oh, and I'd like to see him in his cowboy uniform too. My next idea actually comes from the video game. I'd like to see Doc become Citizen Brown from the alternate future where he takes over Hill Valley. As Citizen Brown, his dialogue should be changed to be more sinister and upset over anyone who's a rule breaker. I think this would be a really cool addition to Doc, and it would give some more love to the Telltale game. When it comes to Doc's stage, I think a neat idea would be to have a constantly changing Hill Valley. At first, it's the normal Hill Valley, then it flashes into the future Hill Valley with flying cars and the Jaws hologram in there somewhere. Hell, maybe that can be an obstacle that hurts people. After that, it'll transform into Hell Valley, with Biff's tower in the back, and a bunch of bikers riding around. It could just keep swapping between these, and I think you'd have a really fun stage. Well, it looks like I'm out of time. But that's my pitch for Doc Brown and MultiVersus. If you want to see our favorite Doctor join the game too, spread the word. I hope this video has been educational.
It means your future hasn't been written yet. No one's has. Your future is whatever you make it. So make it a good one. Both of you.